Welcome to the Functional Aesthetician Podcast. I'm your host, Samantha Dench. Today, we have a special guest, Afshan Hussein. We will discuss clean beauty myths, ingredient safety, and toxins in beauty products. Before we get to today's interview, let me introduce our special guest. Afshan Hussein is an environmental health educator and fertility coach with over 15 years of work experience in health education. She has also worked in the beauty industry on projects concerning ingredient safety and research. She is also the founder of Pregnancy-Safe Cosmetics, a company that runs toxin reduction programs in over 20 fertility clinics in the U.S., 8 wellness clinics, and 1 dental practice. The company also manufactures personal care products in Europe where 2,500 ingredients are banned. Every personal care product is between 98 and 100% natural and certified as such. All product ingredients are verified and certified by EcoCert. She has spoken on the Real Foodology podcast with Courtney Swan, on various episodes of Carnivore Conversations, and on Kashif Khan's private invitation-only biohacking talk. Welcome back. Today we have our special guest, Afshan Hussein. She is here from Pregnancy-Safe Cosmetics. Welcome.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Samantha, for giving me this opportunity to speak with everyone. I'm excited about our talk.
Why don't you tell me a little background about yourself?
I actually, my background is in public relations, mostly that part of public relations that manages crisis communications. And I focused in most of my career on health education. So managing crises like Hurricane Katrina. And we would either manage the communications, which means working with hospitals, blood banks, etc., getting, everything set up in case of crisis, and then what to do with crisis. And that's kind of what I was doing up until the time when I got pregnant. And before my pregnancy, I had a few issues and ailments that I was dealing with, but I really cleaned out my life and went keto and carnivore, but without knowing it, and finally ended up getting pregnant. And I had a great pregnancy. Most of the pregnancy, I was, thin and feeling great, energetic, etc. And then my daughter was born 2 pounds 8 ounces prematurely at 30 weeks. And I remember thinking, why did this happen? How did this happen? And there was a Spanish doctor who was taking care of me, and he went on rounds and he saw my bottle of Clarins Wheel Tonique, which they pushed as like the thing to use during pregnancy to make sure you don't have stretch marks. And it was a bottle of essential oils. And I was putting that thing on my body from like here to my feet every shower, at the exit of every shower. And I didn't know it, but essential oils, it came out in 2021, 2022, the fetal and embryo toxic. They cause small for gestational, premature, preterm birth, which is exactly what I had. And the doctor said, oh my God, is that essential oils? Like, you should not be using that during pregnancy. And I thought, note to myself, I have to look into that and do something about that if that's true, because I was never educated about that. And, I was super, at that point, I didn't wear makeup. I only used like organic products on my body. I didn't own a microwave. I didn't own a toaster. Everything was cooked fresh, and that's how I got out of the mess that I was in, where I wasn't feeling so healthy. I wasn't able to get pregnant. Finally, I got pregnant. And also, then I had my baby. She was fine. We got out of after 6 weeks in the NICU, and she was born in 2017. In 2021, I started working for a consulting firm, a beauty brand consulting firm that had me kind of start writing about the differences between like American and European legislation on ingredient safety when it comes to cosmetics specifically, not food, but cosmetics. And this was the year which MACRA was supposed to be, like in 2022, at the end of 2022, MACRA, which is the Modernization of Cosmetics Regulation Act that happened in the US. And so all of a sudden, like that just threw open the doors, and I realized, there are 2,500 cosmetic ingredients that are banned in Europe and only 11 that are banned in the US. And the same year, 2021, 2022, came out all of these studies on fetal and embryo toxicity that comes from like most of the essential oils that are used today that we know. And then I just decided, oh gosh, the US needs to have a beauty brand that is, really truly safe. I also started learning so many things about the way the beauty industry is structured in America versus Europe. In Europe, it's the manufacturer that's the responsible party. You label something wrong, you hurt someone, the manufacturer gets shut down, thrown in jail, fined, etc. Here, it's a brand. So what can happen is the brand tells the manufacturer, just put organic on the label. And they'll do it because they're not the responsible party. And then, they'll say, do this, change the name to, I don't know, they have like these names that encompass 3 toxic ingredients and no one's ever heard of the name, but really it's parabens and formaldehyde and something else. And they'll do it. Like, they will do anything because they're not responsible. And then you see what happens is that the brand does it, but then the brand can claim, oh, we didn't know that. We thought that's something from the, manufacturer, and they throw the blame around. And then there's no legislation. You can literally have one ingredient that's organic and just label it organic when all the other ingredients are not. And there's very little legislation. And I thought, this is absolutely ridiculous. Like, I wouldn't want this. On top of that, any beauty brand that wants to sell anything, of course, they want distribution, they want money. They don't want to be, having one isolated website that nobody knows about. They want a distribution channel. And all the distribution channels here are Walmart, Target, Sephora, Ulta, pharmacies. They're the big places. And to get into those, you have to prove that you have a warehouse and hundreds and thousands of units in stock. And that is because these guys will buy 200,000, 100,000 units. And why is that important? That's important because they don't buy it. They actually order it and make you, the brand, buy it and stock it, and they sell it on consignment. So let's say they order 100,000, they sell 25,000, they ship you back 75,000. What do you think a brand is going to do with that? Throw it out after 6 months? No. They want to be able to keep it like for 8 years. They want a long shelf life. And that necessarily means that they're going to put these very, very harsh, I will call them harsh instead of toxic, chemicals in them, which create problems for our health outcomes. And the traditional is parabens, but even the alternatives like 1,2-hexandiol or phenoxyethanol or a lot of these so-called clean alternatives, new alternatives, are just as bad for other reasons. So, they might not be endocrine disrupting, but they have other serious health impacts. And so once I learned that, I thought, no, I want to create, a really clean beauty brand. And then when I started looking into it, a lot of people in the beauty industry that I knew that were colleagues were like, no, you can't do that because there are millions of them out there. And like, you got to niche or do something. And I said, you know what? I believe that if you cut out the bad stuff, you'll feel healthier, you'll be healthier, and you'll achieve your impacts, like your goals, health goals, quicker. And everybody said, well, you'd have to prove that. And I said, you know what? The one place I can prove that is in the field of fertility and pregnancy, because it's simple. A woman shows up at your door, at your clinic's door, and says, I'm not pregnant. I've been trying to conceive for 3 years. Can you help me? And you tell them to change this, and 3 months later she's pregnant. That's an outcome that cannot be denied. No baby in the belly, baby in the belly. It's like, it's not just, oh, I feel better. It's, wow, there you go. So I started there, and today I have this company called Pregnancy Safe Cosmetics. And if you want to find us, it's very hard. If you don't stick it in Google, put the 3 words together, Pregnancy Safe Cosmetics with an S, smush them together, and you'll find us on Google, because SEO is really hard. There are a million articles on what is pregnancy safe in the cosmetics world. So go there. If you want a free list of ingredients to avoid, just comment anything in the contact us page. It'll be kicked back to you automatically. If you want free education, one of the things we do a lot of podcasts and education on Instagram. So sign up, follow at Pregnancy Safe Cosmetics on Instagram. Make sure you star us as a favorite, as Instagram likes to limit my views to about 10% of my following. It's very small. So, and if you are looking to try to conceive, another thing that we do, we have a fertility program, and the first consultation is absolutely free of charge. So go to the fertility program page on pregnancy-safe-cosmetics.com, fill out the form in the middle, make sure to leave a phone number, and make sure to check your emails and your phone for text messages. We will reach out to you and schedule that first free Zoom. We are in 20 fertility clinics across the United States, 8 wellness clinics, 1 dental practice, and we are looking to expand to work with women and clinicians who work in the field of beauty, as well as spas, retreats, and we have monetization programs that actually help you monetize if you're a spa or retreat or working with beauty patients, because what we do is we give you the products which you sell, and we give you the consulting, but we kind of give you the consulting free of charge, but you can then charge for it. So it helps you monetize, and all those programs are tailored for you. So that's a kind of what my company does. And the basic idea behind it all is, if you reduce toxins the way you should be doing them, you will more quickly achieve your health outcomes. And I think most people don't do it the way it should be done.
I will drop all those links in the show notes, so that way they can refer back. Click on those links and I'll direct them directly to you. One of the questions I wanted to ask you is, why is it that clean beauty is not fertility, pregnancy, or lactation safe?
The reason why is because, the way we think of what's toxic and what's not, we think that, okay, let's make a list of ingredients to avoid. Those are toxic. And then everything else is either shrug the shoulder or okay. And that is first, like, I don't like that, because
Right.
to really know what's toxic, like, I have a functional approach to toxin reduction. So every ingredient, whether it's a bath and beauty ingredient, food and water ingredient, any ingredient, supplement ingredient, I read it as an input. It either inputs negatively in your health or positively in your health. Of course, if it's really truly toxic and it's going to kill you, it's going to input negatively. But all these shrug the shoulders or possibly good ingredients are not always good for everyone. And I'll give you a few examples of this in a minute. But it depends on your health history, your desired health goal. It depends on what's going on in your body. So when it comes to pregnancy, fertility, and breastfeeding, most of the assessments they look at what's healthy and okay and non-toxic for a man, not a woman with cycles, not a pregnant woman, not a woman who's trying to conceive, not a breastfeeding mom. So already that's a problem, because rosemary extract, nobody in their right mind would say there's anything wrong with rosemary extract. But there are some studies that show that it impedes embryo implantation in rats. For me, if I'm trying to conceive, I'm like, no thanks to rosemary extract. Why should I even take a risk? Especially if I've just spent $20,000 on an IVF or $40,000, not interested. It's a very small, easy thing to avoid. Rosemary extract. No, I won't get the shampoo with rosemary extract. End of story. Right. Essential oils, same thing. They're considered wonderful because they're natural, organic, etc. But no, they're fetal and embryo toxic. So that's one reason I kind of say thanks, but no thanks to just reading anything that's, and then same thing with phenoxyethanol is supposed to be clean beauty ingredient. 1,2 hexandiol is supposed to be a clean beauty ingredient. I don't like those ingredients in general, but especially not for women who are trying to conceive. I mean, phenoxyethanol crosses the placental barrier. 1,2 hexandiol it shows up in your blood, it circulates, and it's cytotoxic. It kills cells, and it has to be because it's a preservative, it's antibacterial, so it has to kill like natural things. But what if it's circulating, going down to the embryo and killing off your embryonic? What if it incites, like it says in the study, incites cellular death? What if it incites embryonic cellular death? For me, these are ingredients. Yeah, these are ingredients I don't like. So the main reason I would say is because, there are a number of them. What's deemed toxic by the powers that be only look at women who are not pregnant, not trying to conceive, and not breastfeeding. Second, the whole industry here in America is set up so that there's so little regulation, even with the Modernization Cosmetics Regulation Act, you can still put anything on the label. It's organic, it's natural, and in fact, all of it's synthetic. There's no regulation for it. And then, there's no certification that's mandatory. You have to have each ingredient certified that you call organic. But then if you have one certified organic ingredient, you can put the label organic on your bottle. In Europe, you have to have, if you say organic, a certain minimum percentage has to be organic or natural. You have to specify it on the bottle. You can't just have one ingredient. So that's why all of my products are either 98%, 99%, or 100% of total ingredients natural, certified as such, verified and certified. They're made in Europe on European soil where 2,500 ingredients are banned. And on top of it, I look at each and every ingredient to make sure it's pregnancy safe, fertility safe, lactation safe. And that's just because I chose this one community to really focus in on and try to help so that they can achieve their health outcomes. But, I have now people coming to me because my programs are in 20 fertility clinics, 8 wellness clinics, and 1 dental practice. And I have people coming to me saying, like men who are not in a relationship saying, I just want to feel more energetic. I want to have better skin. I want to look healthy, but I also want to feel healthy. And so what I do for them is I use a functional approach to toxin reduction where I ask them to take a patient intake. I look at their lab work. I look at what's going on inside their body. And then I look at their exposures and I try to see, okay, are any of these exposures going to hinder them from what they're trying to achieve? There's a whole class of chemicals called obesogens, which will push your body to create and store fat and push you to be insulin resistant because you need fat for these, if your body doesn't have fat, your body can't sequester and store the toxins in the fat. And your body wants to sequester these toxins away from the vital organs. So, that pushes your body to be fat and insulin resistance, which then makes you tired. There's a whole host of, when you start getting very personal and specific, I like to look at ingredients are they energy depleting? Are they making you fat? Are they energy depleting, meaning hurting your mitochondrial function? Are they, increasing your oxidative stress? What are they doing exactly in your body? Are they contributing those enzymes by making them slower or faster in the breakdown of certain processes in your body, which might be key to fertility or might be key to weight loss or might be key to something else. And once you understand that medical side of things and you understand what the ingredient does, you kind of put the two together. And one minute I say that, people are like, oh, but that's too complicated. Certainly EWG and Yuka and all these apps, they don't tell you any of that. They just give you a big thing. It's endocrine disrupting.
Yep.
Okay, endocrine disrupting. So, there are a lot of things that are endocrine disrupting. Eugenol, which is clove oil, used to be EWG verified. I mean, Skin Deep said it was 3, and then it was an 8, and then it was a 3. Well, which one is it? They are basically recognizing that it disrupts like something in the endocrine system because it actually changes something in your pancreatic. I don't know if it's your pancreatic enzyme or it has an effect on your pancreas, which is kind of borderline. It's doing something in the endocrine system, but is it really disruptive? And what kind of disruptive? Well, if you understand what it does, it actually slows an enzyme, and that can be good for some people and it can be bad for others. It depends on what's going on in your body. So, when it is a lot to understand, but I am putting together proprietary databases, amassing them now, and I'm going to try to turn that into an app that can actually put all this information together for practitioners or clinicians so that their patients can just use it. They can get the information and tell their patients, okay, you know what, don't use this or use this, which I think is the wave of the future. Toxin reduction has to be personalized to your health. It can't just be, all this general stuff. Here's your list of 10 hacks. Do it. Live toxin free. You won't really live toxin free with 10 hacks. And even if you were to do everything on the mile high list, let's face it, you might still miss that one thing that's really key to getting you where you want to go.
Right. This is amazing. I want to circle back to insulin resistance because I can't tell you how many women come to get a facial, and I feel like perimenopause, menopause, it's the number one thing that women complain about. Like, I keep gaining weight and I'm eating right, I'm exercising. Like, why can't I lose this weight? So I feel like between products and the fact that all this estrogen keeps getting recycled in our body, I feel like insulin resistance is becoming more common, even in thin people. And it's an issue that I feel like needs to be talked about more. So would you like to share a little bit about insulin resistance?
Absolutely. So, there's this class of chemicals called obesogens, which push your body to be insulin resistant. What people don't understand is that they exist not just in beauty and bath products. They exist in food and water ingredients, beauty and bath products, clothing, household cleaning supplies, contact items. So you kind of have to know what those class of ingredients are and try to reduce that particular class across the board. The other thing with insulin resistance, and this is where the functional part of it takes place, is when your body is kind of dealing with insulin resistance over time, your mitochondrial function really takes a tank. This is why insulin resistant women and men can't fast. They have a trouble time fasting. And I always try to improve the mitochondrial function before I tell them to go in and fast, because fasting helps insulin resistance, right? But a lot of my patients who are severely insulin resistant will say, oh, I can't fast. I mean, I can barely from the time I wake up ravenous and I need something, and 2 hours later I'm bad again. And I say, okay, let's add some mitochondrial support. So CoQ10 is good. Omega-3s, a good omega-3 that isn't rancid, that has been tested for rancidity. I don't like those that are on the shelf packed in vitamin E. I like those who are made fresh and shipped. You can get them from Zinzino. You should get it through a practitioner. Usually get it through me. Just DM me and I'll set it up for you. You pay the same whether you get it from one practitioner or another. It's just that for the first time you get it, like your first months, you'll have a pinprick test that'll tell you where your omega-3, omega-6 is, and someone needs to interpret that test. So, that's that's why you get it through someone. But I like that one because it's packed fresh. It's been tested for rancidity. It's really good. Good CoQ10. I like to get all that supplement plus the NAD boosters. I'm talking NMN, and TMG. Usually when you start supplementing for making NAD in your body, and for anyone who doesn't know that, I'll tell you what that is in a minute. You tend to need, you tend to methylate less well. So you need another supplement called TMG, and these two work really well together. So, do you need that methylation support? Do you need the TMG? Oh, you do. Okay, then take it. How much trouble are you having fasting? Okay, let's try the NMN. I like to get TMG, NMN, CoQ10 from DoNotAge.org. They don't give me much of believe me, I'm not doing this for any kind of affiliate code. I just give you the code so you can get your little bit of discount. I think it's Pregnancy Safe 10, but I like that. I happen to like that brand because when I started hitting the perimenopause time, I got so tired, and people were like, take NMN. And I thought, I'll try. And I tried this brand, that brand, this brand. And doing it age was the first one that I felt, wow, I got my energy back. And this stuff works. Whatever it is, it works. So then I started asking my fertility patients to take it too, and those patients who are tired, and it always works wonders. I've never had a patient say, oh, I don't feel, it didn't do anything. And so many of my patients end up getting pregnant on it. So I would say, that's another support. But, it's really important to help the body become less insulin resistant, not just by fasting and reducing carbs, but by fasting, reducing carbs, getting your body ready to fast by getting the right supplemental support. And that, I'm just mentioning a few, but it might be others that you need depending on your particular health history. Do you need vitamin D? Do you need, I haven't seen your lab, so I wouldn't know. And then reducing the toxins that are going to push your body to make more fat and make you more insulin resistant. And all of those things, work together.
Because most people think of insulin resistance as just, oh, I have diabetes, but they don't realize it's all these other factors that are contributing to it. And I love the mitochondrial support. I feel like that's something that nobody talks about, and it's something that is crucial for our health.
It is. And, so if you're feeling tired, if you're having trouble fasting, if you're if you have a low AMH, these are all, why low AMH? Because mitochondrial functioning is key for follicular genesis, and your follicles are not being generated, so you have low number of follicles, and part of that is mitochondrial functioning. There are also other things. Usually if you have low AMH, you have low levels of estrogen, progesterone, DHEA. And if that is the case, it might be because you have low cholesterol, or it might be that you have enough cholesterol, high cholesterol, but you don't have enough thyroid. So, looking at the lab work to understand what is it that's going on. Do you have enough thyroid to convert your cholesterol into the sex hormones? Do you have enough cholesterol to be converted into the sex hormones? You do, okay, but you still have a low AMH. How about the mitochondrial support? Are you cutting out things like parabens, which, actually create like premature ovarian, premature deficiency in ovarian reserve? Are you cutting out, all the other things that basically don't help you get to where you need to get to? So that's what it is. And again, I talk a lot about fertility because I deal with patients every single day, and I'm dealing with those cases. But now I'm kind of expanding. I want to go and build these vitality programs that are not just geared for women who are trying to conceive, because one of the outcomes that I'm seeing in 100% of my patients, whether they get pregnant or not, and they come back and they say, I just feel so much better. Thank you so much. I just feel energetic again. My skin is glowing, and it's so I think, okay, let's go to spas, let's go to retreats, let's go to gyms, let's go to people like you, and let's give them the consulting so they can help their patients not just achieve their results with their muscles and their skin, but actually achieve a higher order health outcome. And that's kind of what I'm looking to do. And so I'm kind of expanding and doing that this year. Hopefully next year I will have my app running, because I'm building an app that will allow not me to be like doubled. Like my app will be a little mini me, and I'll be able to help everyone. So that's kind of what I'm doing. I hope that the world stops being binary with this toxic, not toxic. This binary kind of idea that we're waiting, and also we're waiting for some organization, EWG, Yucca, Clearia, to tell us what's okay or what's not okay. And half the time, there are so many ingredients that are not even rendered toxic or deemed toxic that are just blocking our health outcomes. I had a patient who came to me, and we optimized her cycles. She was finally back on 28-day cycles. She was so happy. And then all of a sudden, after 3 months of doing good, she started having delayed cycles. And I said, what did you change? Because you were perfect. And she said, I started taking this supplement for my hormonal acne. And I was like, it's Clear Stem or something. And I was like, you don't have any hormonal acne. Your hormones were perfect. We optimized them. And she's like, yeah, but look, my acne went away. And I said, let me see that. And what happened was there was DIM in it. DIM clears out the estrogen in your
Yep.
body. So you need to peak in your estrogen to have your LH peak to have you ovulate. And she wasn't
Right.
peaking because it was clearing out the estrogen.
Right.
So her body would try, and then fail. Try, and then failed. And then it finally achieved it, but kind of on the late end. And I said, you know what? You don't need this. It has vitamin A, C, and E. Find something that just has those vitamins and get rid of the DIM, and you'll
Yep.
go back. I bet you'll go back. So she did it, and
And
she
she
was back
did.
on track within
Yeah.
like, second month she was back on track.
Right.
And her acne went away too. She just needed vitamin A, C, and E. And that's the other thing, if you have bad skin, chances are it's in your gut,
Yeah.
chances
100%.
are it's in your gut, or it's in your nutrient deficiencies, which is often linked to your gut. If
Right.
you've got poor energy, it's mitochondria. But all of these things make a profound impact on the way you look. Do you look healthy? Do you,
Right.
is your skin glowing, or is it kind of dull? It's all connected.
Yeah. Exactly. And it's funny because clients come to me and they're like, I just want to have a good complexion. And I'm like, well, you have to fix your inside first because I can only do so much. So that's what made me study functional medicine, because it's like my hands are tied. I can only put so much stuff on your skin and you can only do so much at home. So,
Yeah. I mean, I do always say, a good start is to have products that are really truly clean. And
right.
to that end, I don't have a huge line, but I do have a fairly good, base for personal care products. I have a
Right.
face wash, hand and body wash. I have a small men's line. It's like a, hair and body wash plus a moisturizer. I have a daytime moisturizer, nighttime moisturizer, face oil, and various antioxidant boosts and various serums. And they are absolutely fabulous. Anyone who wants to just, you know, doesn't want to go through 26 pages of list of ingredients to avoid, go
Right.
to my shop. They're all at Sephora prices. Sign up for my newsletter to get the discounts, because every month I have a different discount. This month it's free shipping, so the code no ship will work. It's
Okay.
pregnancySafeCosmetics.com/shop. And that's always a good start. But then if
Yeah.
you need more help, DM me.
Right. And all those links will be put below so they can check the show notes and click directly to link to connect with you. This was awesome. I hate to cut this short. I feel like we could sit and talk for hours. Before we close, I just want to have you share one key takeaway that our listeners can start implementing like right away.
So I would say, if you're very serious about toxin reduction, get some clean products. If you don't want to have a think about it, go to my shop. And then think about the 5 main areas through which we get exposed to toxins. Our bath and beauty is one, food and water is another. So get a good water filter. I like the Aqua True, or get reverse osmosis or the countertop. In terms of your food, try to go organic, whole foods. If you're getting organic chicken, make sure it's air chilled, otherwise it's dunked in bleach for like 30 minutes. Your clothing should be organic, cotton or linen. Don't wear the synthetic fibers. It leaches in BPA, which is a form of plastic, and other plastics and lead and arsenic. We ingest about a credit card's worth of plastic every week, 4 credit cards a month. So it's pretty bad. Plastic has been found in every organ of our body, including the testes. 100% of men were tested were positive for plastic. Household cleaning supplies and, contact items in food, home and office, like tape. Don't tape. Tape has phthalates in it. So
Yeah.
don't stick adhesive on your face. And that is a good start. Now, if after that you feel like you're doing all those things and you're still not feeling good, find a practitioner. Like I said, I don't like to charge for consulting. I say, you buy my products, you get the consulting for free, whether it's through a practitioner or through me. So, but find a practitioner that can help you help look at what's happening in your body through your blood work, through your patient intake, and then looking at your exposures. And I guarantee you, if they're good at what they do, you will end up in a matter of months or weeks, really, a couple of months or a few weeks, feeling a night and day difference, sleeping better, feeling more energetic, losing the weight easier, your skin is glowing. These are all common everyday side effects, like healthy side effects of cleaning up your life and getting your health back on track through, making nutrient adjustments, supplement adjustments, etc. They're fairly easy to do.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much for being here, Afshan.
Well,
I've
thank you
really
so much for
enjoyed today.
letting me share all this on your with your followers.
Absolutely. And like I said, all the links to connect with Afshan will be in the show notes. Thank you for listening, and I will be back next week with another episode.
Have a wonderful day and Happy New Year, guys.
Thank you for listening. Today we had on our special guest, Afshan Hussein. We talked about clean beauty and how many ingredients cause more harm than good. We also talked about regulations in both the US and Europe. Lastly, we talked about how many products can even be the cause of insulin resistance. Please check the show notes for links on how to connect with Afshan. Be sure to tune in next Tuesday to episode 15. We have on another guest speaker. We will be talking about nutrition and how foods affect your body during perimenopause and menopause, and how it all connects to your skin. You don't want to miss this one. And always remember, you deserve to love the skin you're in.